Hey, sports fans, if you're heading out to watch the game and need a fill-up, why not join the Fuel Rewards program and earn rewards on Shell Fuel? Members save on their Shell fill-up every day. So sign up free today at fuelrewards.com/ESPN.
It is Mike and Mike on a Monday morning. I'm Dave Rothenberg, and this man I think we're all familiar with.
I'm back.
How are you?
I'm doing well, Had a wonderful trip to Vegas, which I do want to talk about. It had to do with the Gridiron Greats, Mike Ditka, and a bunch of great legends.
Are you considered one of the Gridiron Greats?
I do not consider myself one of the Gridiron Greats. No, I do not.
Like Ditka, Golic.
Ditka, you know who's there? Marv Levy, Joe Green. Those are Gridiron Greats. But it's a great thing that Mike Ditka has kept going for assistance for players who need it, and it was fantastic. I definitely will get into it on a bit, and then headed to South Bend for a little bit, and then moved the rest of my daughter's stuff up to Chicago. She works with the Bears now, so you've been all over the place. Yeah, it's been a moving around few days, and then I heard I was doing the show with you.
You were disappointed.
So
Tell
now,
me the truth,
no,
honestly.
I wasn't disappointed, not outwardly. My wife and I.
Internally. Your wife's a fan, though. She likes me.
No, she doesn't.
She
no.
pretends.
See, what my wife does, and I hate to say this to anybody that my son Mike works with, whoever Mike is going to work with, she kind of befriends them and builds them up to make them feel good. She doesn't like you.
I don't know if you know this. I'm actually a star maker.
Yes.
Now, there's not much I can do for you at this point.
Well, I was just hoping, can you help me?
I'm going to work my magic with you, but I took Mike under my wing.
Yes, you did.
Look at him.
Right.
Like, you must at least feel like you owe me a little bit of debt of gratitude.
None at all, but okay.
Okay. Mina Kimes under my wing.
Right.
Look at her.
Fantastic. You had something to do with that, you think?
Something to do?
Right.
I mean,
right.
I was the
You were
original.
in the same room with her and Mike at some point? Is that it?
No. They all came through the byproduct of the Fantasy Focus show on Sundays.
I know you've worked with Mike a lot, so what exactly have you done for him?
Look at what he's done. Who's hosting this very show on Thursday morning?
Yeah, well, he is.
Yes.
But so is it? Would he like ask you questions and break? And would he try and learn from you, or was he just trying to?
I think my wisdom just drips off, and he was able to pick up little nooks and crannies of it and look at. I mean, he has a show.
Yeah, he does.
Who has a national show? Michael Jr.
He does.
Okay, and that's partly or
you think
mainly.
So?
I think mainly because of
me. How much percentage of credit would you take for that?
74.
74%.
Look, he's somewhat talented.
Yes.
But I think that I would take a large portion of that.
Mina Kimes, how much of that?
You know what? She's lovelier than Mike.
Yes.
So I will only take 50.
Okay.
For her.
Wow.
But I think that I've contributed, and I think that they finally recognize. Wait a minute. This one gentleman, Dave Rothenberg, is leading everyone to very high levels.
So obviously you are. They're raising you to the highest levels.
Look
where you are right now.
Where am I sitting right now?
So does this mean that because you're in that chair, you're in Greeny's chair, that you're going to have to make outlandish comments?
I don't know
things
yet.
like that.
I don't know. This is the beginning stages, and let me get my bearings.
Kind of work into it a little
They
bit.
put makeup on me today.
They did. Is this the first time you've ever done?
No,
makeup
I've had makeup before.
You have, but you applied it yourself though.
I have. No, actually, I've done some TV work where they put some makeup on. But I would, let me get my bearings. Let me see where we are. Let me become comfortable.
I just hope I can live up to the likes of my son, who have you worked with many times.
He's terrific.
He's
a great kid. I'm being serious.
I'm a little nervous. Thank you.
I don't blame you. Are you a touch nervous?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm really nervous about where the hell this show's going with you.
Oh, we're going big places.
Yeah.
We're going. We have so many guests.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you.
We really do.
A lot of guests.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for each and every one of them.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
I'm just going to avert my eyes when you try and hit the buttons and stuff and just pray that it all works.
Can I ask you a question? And I know we're radio or TV, but
sure.
Why are the buttons behind me? Like I now have to dip around to hit.
Greeny asked the same question years ago when we went down into this studio, and we had a lot of meetings, and then we had meetings to have other meetings about where we should put everything.
Yes.
And you have to do oblique work to get to that.
Yeah. Now Aaron Hicks, Yankees outfielder, just went on the DL with a strained oblique.
So there you go. He could not sit in that seat right now.
So he couldn't host the show with
you.
Not. Could he make your son and Mina Kimes into stars?
Could not do it because he can't twist.
So you see what I've been able to do. Mike and Mike brought to you by Progressive Radio. We have a lot to do. I'm going to hit my first button of the day.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you ready? Hang on a second.
Okay.
Turn around.
Give it a go.
Off the top.
Nice job out of you. See how the music starts playing and everything goes in?
We can talk over said music?
Absolutely.
Great. All right, now we go off the top?
Yes,
Is that
we
do? All right, I'm new here, so you're going to have to make me a star for an hour.
And after off the top, I hit it again.
Turn around, oblique issues.
Yeah, that's
again.
the workout.
All right, Dodgers win their 10th straight by defeating the Rockies 12-6, marking the first time since the club moved to L.A. from where? From where? From Brooklyn.
From Brooklyn,
Yeah,
yes.
in 1958. They trailed by 5 or more runs and won by 5 or more runs. That's courtesy of Elias. Cody Bellinger, he's not terrible. I'm going to tell you a quick story about Cody Bellinger.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I'm one of these nerds that plays fantasy baseball.
Yes, you are. That plays fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
all right.
You didn't even let me finish the sentence.
Okay, but I agree.
Okay, I'm one of these fantasy baseball nerds, and I was competing very high level, right, big league, and Cody Bellinger became available, and he had like 3 home runs in the first week, and I said, then you start to read about these guys, and all the reading I did about Cody Bellinger was he's not going to play very much. So you don't need to pick him up. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pass by on Cody Bellinger.
You passed him.
Yeah, because he wasn't going to play very much.
That worked out well for him.
And now he has like 1,400 home runs.
He absolutely does.
Yeah.
He does have 403 home runs. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
He does have his 6th multi-home run game this season. No one else has more than 4. He is one shy of the rookie single-season record set by Mark McGwire in 1987. And to bring up your Brooklyn Dodgers, this is the first time the Dodgers trailed by 5 or more runs and then won by 5 or more since May of 1951. Braves against the Brooklyn Dodgers.
How about that? Goes back a very long time.
That's a very long time.
Now, 1951 was the Bobby Thompson year that Bobby Thompson hit the walk-off home run.
That year, did you get your driver's license?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm much younger than you.
All right, I know
I
you
may
are.
look older, but
now
I'm going to turn around, oblique
Yes, you are.
work,
Do it again.
and I'm going to hit it again.
Off the top.
Nice shot,
yeah.
Took a second time.
All right.
Final round of the Travelers Championship. Jordan Spieth defeated Daniel Berger in a playoff for his 2nd PGA Tour win of the season and 10th of his career.
How about what he did? The 18th, he was in the sand trap on 18. He had to get up and down just to get into the playoffs. So he went in the bunker, got up and down, knocked it just a foot or two from the cup, and then in the first playoff hole, knocks it at 22 minutes later. Knocks it into same bunker, the exact same bunker, and he holes it from there.
But the reaction was the greatest.
It was fantastic. Listen,
greatest golf reaction ever, yes or no?
Oh, he throws his club and he does the high chest bump with his caddy, who I feared when he came down because he was on kind of angled ground. I thought he was going to blow his knee out, which we've seen
like a Martin Dramatica.
Yeah, so I was happy that didn't happen. But let me get you to this. This is amazing. Mm-hmm. The professional career to this point before turning 24. Let's compare him to Tiger Woods. Okay. Before turning 24, Tiger won 15 events. Spieth has won 10. They're the only two to have 10 or more. Woods was in 70 events. Spieth 112, so 42 more events. Tiger missed 1 cut in that time,
which is amazing.
Spieth missed 16. They each have 2 major wins. Tiger Woods won $11 million in that time frame, and Spieth won $30 million. Because he was in 42 more tournaments overall.
Right.
But really impressive what he does, what he did there. And it was a great tournament here. It was right here in Connecticut at the TPC, and they had great weather, great turnout. What a way. That's like hitting the game-winning 3 is what that is.
Oh, that's
holding it out of the bunker. It's unreal.
The only thing you could say that would make it bigger is if it was in a major. Right?
Yeah, it's exactly.
You do that in a major.
Without a doubt.
And that you are now in the history book.
Justin Thomas tweeted before that shot, he said, I wouldn't be surprised if he holed it out of the bunker, and he did, and it's pretty impressive. Good way to end
How
the
many
tournament.
shots do you think it would take for you to hit that?
Out of the bunker, I would have to throw it. I can't hit it.
No, but like if you 1,200, 1,500, like what?
It's probably a little high, over 100.
Over 100. Are you a decent golfer or no?
I shoot mid-90s drunk or sober.
It doesn't matter for you.
No.
So you might as well be drunk.
No. And most of the time I am.
Really?
Yeah.
Like how often are you out there on the
I only golf 4 or 5 times a year.
And
usually a charity event's playing a scramble. And usually by the 3rd or 4th hole, I am scrambled.
So what's a good score? Are you like a 90?
Mid-90s.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it works.
Right?
It's fine by me. I don't care if I get any
Does
better.
it strain the oblique like the turning around?
Strains a lot of
hitting.
things.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it does. All right. I'm doing it again.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Off the top.
You like that? I'm very good at it. Very talented skill with the index finger.
Whatever.
NBA awards will be announced Monday night, highlighted by the culmination of the MVP race between James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook. That's very exciting.
Yeah, so we finally get the NBA awards show.
Yeah.
I mean, we're almost into next season. We're getting close to free agency. We had the NBA draft.
But if you remember, the season could have ended last Sunday.
If you remember,
Yeah.
that's the key thing. Do we remember that's the end of the season? Do we remember the season? I like what they're trying to do, Dave. I do, as far as having their own night. You saw hockey had it last week. The NFL has had it. So I get it. You just start to wonder, is it too late after, the season or not? We're going to talk to Mike Conlan Jr. from the Grizzlies, about the show tonight. I think it's a great idea. I think it's cool, and that's the big race tonight is Harden against Kawhi Leonard against Russell Westbrook. I think Westbrook is going to win it.
I think it has to be Westbrook.
Well, as we go through the show, there's a bunch of great stats about all three of them. But I do like when they have award shows. This seems to be so late, though. It feels like we're going to next year. Is this the first one?
I think it's the first one
in
the NBA, right?
Yeah, and doing it at this late, they had to wait, obviously, until everything was over, yeah.
But, the season could have ended last Sunday. Then you had the draft, and they didn't realize it was going to be such a...
that's true.
Right?
I do like it, though. I do like when they try and do
you know what I heard on the way in today?
What'd you hear?
I heard the phrase, and you may not know it. I don't mean to put you on the spot. A gentleman's sweep?
I don't know what that is.
They were saying, it was a gentleman's sweep.
Who had the gentleman's
sweep? The NBA
sweep?
Finals was a gentleman's sweep.
I don't know what a gentleman's sweep.
That means it goes 5 games? Why is that that's
really? I've never heard that in my life.
What is the...
I would never use that at all. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. We should eliminate that from the...
We should. We can look it up first what it is before we mock it.
Yeah. I think that we probably should do that. Mike and Mike brought to you by Progressive Insurance and, of course, Shell Pennzoil Performance and 1-800-Flowers.com. What do you on Twitter? ESPN Golic?
Yeah. It's at ESPN Golic.
Yeah, and I'm at Rothenberg.
Well, there you go. Easy enough, right?
We're very easy guys.
We are.
Yeah. Do you think we're like low-level guys? Like it's just we're almost Cro-Magnon? Like it's just we're that easy?
Well, we look it. There's no doubt about that.
But I have makeup on.
That's true. You look good.
You as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like after you came out of makeup, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Now I see. Yeah. Now I see what.
Got to hit the button one more time.
Hang on, button.
Off the
There you go.
There you go. This is a long one now.
Yes, it is.
This is according to ESPN, our good friends right here. Cavaliers pursuing Paul George will contend for Carmelo Anthony. That's according to Mark Stein and Chris Haynes. Cavaliers continue to pursue a trade for Paul George and will be a leading contender for Carmelo Anthony's services should Anthony secure an offseason buyout from the New York Knicks. That's according to league sources.
Of course, the mess obviously out with the Knicks. I mean, what's going on now, the whole Porzingis thing when they were talking about a trade and that whole deal that went on and Phil Jackson continuing to get destroyed. But will they buy Carmelo out? And then what's the best position for Carmelo? But there's Paul George, after Jimmy Butler goes to Minnesota to be back with his old coach again. The talk is about Paul George and where is he going to go in that 1 year before he signs with the Lakers. I said all along, Dave, if I were the Lakers, I wouldn't be offering a ton to get him right now, fearing that he'll go someone else for a year and now still want to come to L.A.
You wouldn't offer anything, like a lot for him.
If I were the Lakers?
Yeah.
No,
not if you're the Lakers. If you're someone else thinking you're
no. If I'm Cleveland, I'm making that deal. I figure I got 1 or 2 more years. If everybody thinks LeBron is going to leave, which I wouldn't mind getting into because I can't believe some of the stuff I'm hearing. Cleveland needs to load up to try and make that run at Golden State while LeBron has the few years left of him being at the top of his game. So I'd like this move. If the talk now is Kevin Love would end up in Denver, Paul George in Cleveland at the 3-way deal. So I definitely think it would be a good thing for Cleveland.
Do you buy into this? Because I'm a Knicks fan. You want a minute to make fun of me?
Oh, it's
Do you need
horrific.
a minute?
But you have to. That's okay.
I'm from New York.
Yeah,
I grew up a Knicks fan. I'm a Knicks fan. Passionate Knicks fan. Very frustrated Knicks fan. I can't imagine for the life of me they're going to buy out Carmelo Anthony. Everyone has this. They're going to buy him out. They're going to buy. Why would you buy him out?
They've made horrific mistakes before. So if they really want to just start new and really get it going, just buy him out and let him move on and start building with the new draft picks and with Porzingis and see where you're going to go. I don't know.
All right. What everyone's now talking about is brought to you by Jersey Mike Sub. Be a sub above. You know what else I got to tell you?
What's that?
Mike and Mike presented by Progressive Insurance. You want to hear the guest list for today?
I'd like to.
All right. Do you have a minute?
I do.
Okay. Very good. Mick Conlan, 645. He's on the big Pacquiao card.
Pacquiao Horns card that's coming up July 1st.
Australia.
Right here on ESPN. Yes, in Australia.
You think fighting in Australia, being serious now, is like, what's the time difference there? It's like a full day.
It's a lot.
So do you think that's coming from, anywhere else to go there is a big issue for these guys with the time difference?
Oh, I would imagine they'd get there in plenty of time to get used to it.
But still, and the toilet water goes the different
direction. When you flush it, it goes the other way.
That would throw you.
That would throw me off more than the time.
Yes.
Yeah, it would throw me off.
So you'd be 27 hours ahead. Yeah. Not an issue.
Flush the toilet.
Toilet water goes the wrong way. You're completely taken. All right. Well, we should ask Mick Conlan about the toilet water. Yeah. 6:45. Yeah. Brian Windhorst 7:30. Mike Conley Jr. 8:00. Stu Gotts 8:30. Phil Mickelson 9. Mark Stein, 9:30. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. If you miss any of those guests, you can listen to all 4 hours of Mike and Mike on demand in the ESPN app.
How about that?
Lot going on. All right. NBA rumors now in the NBA. You know what I like about the NBA and what they do is there's never downtime. And the NFL has kind of found a way to make this very relevant as well.
Without a doubt. Not only not a downtime, but I think this is more – people are getting more out of this time of year than they were the regular season and the playoffs.
Regular season – yeah, you know what? I think you might be right.
This particular playoff.
These playoffs were –
they were rough.
They were horrendous.
So there's a lot of great stuff going on right now.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, we it's relevant. We are starting July next week,
right.
And people want to talk NBA. I think the NFL – has done a great job of that as well, where the season ends and then free agency kicks in, and now we're already. Then you get the draft, then you get mini camp, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, the NFL is here, and it's great. NBA has done an amazing job.
They have, they absolutely have. Going from the draft to now, free agency starting July 1st, and a lot of it has to be with who's involved. You got to have big names involved. Is Carmelo going to get bought out? Yeah, Blake Griffin and Chris Paul going to opt out.
So
they're going to be free agents.
Do you see them leaving there?
I see Blake Griffin leaving there.
Do you understand? But if they're,
I know the money they're giving up.
We're talking about $200 million.
Yeah, and I think Blake may leave there, and I don't know if the Clippers would be all that upset about it if he were to end up leaving.
There was a time where Blake Griffin was considered a star. You don't think the word there.
Well, I mean, look at how much he gets nicked up now. I mean, you got to think about that. I mean, you're getting older, even though he's not old. You're getting older, and you're getting nicked up more and more. You're going to give out 2 max slots. That's a tough call. So I don't think he ends up in the Clippers. I think Chris Paul may end up back there, though. The talk of him going to San Antonio would be very interesting.
Because I love odds. Are you an odds guy?
I don't mind them.
You're not opposed to odds.
Yeah.
I love odds, and I saw something last night. There's like one of these bookmakers somewhere, and the odds of Chris Paul winding up in San Antonio are better than staying in LA.
Are they?
Clippers? Yes.
That wouldn't surprise me, and I guess that aren't we all? Isn't that what we're doing right now? Is we're hoping, because if everything stays pat, then we're just probably looking at what we saw last year, and even after all the changes, we may be looking at it. But at least if there are significant changes, there's new hope. Who's going to knock the bully off the block, right? So if Chris Paul goes to San Antonio, now what do you start thinking? Oh, Chris Paul is going to a team that was beating Golden State by 22 before Kawhi Leonard got hurt. Now Kawhi will be back. See what goes on with LaMarcus Aldridge. Now you had Chris Paul. Paul George, if they trade, he comes to Cleveland.
Right.
Okay, Kevin Love's gone, but Paul George can play some big-time defense, and that's what they need to help against Golden State. What could that do? So at least, I don't know if you get new hope or not, but at least it's different hope to hope that someone can knock off Golden State next year.
If Chris Paul were to go to San Antonio, I still give them no chance. I give them no chance.
No chance.
Golden State right now, in my mind, is so far and above anybody. I mean, they had a gentleman's sweep.
Whatever a gentleman's sweep
right,
is.
yeah.
So I don't look at what San Antonio did in Game 1 and say they would have won that series. But you do have to kind of wonder. I mean, they were smoking Golden State in Golden State, until Kawhi got hurt. So that again is
that's one game.
No, I know.
A half of one game.
I know, but Dave, that's all we have to hang on to.
You're right.
We have to hang on to any little bit we can.
In the entire
exactly
postseason.
Right. Yeah.
Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance. We'll compare rates for you so you get the best deal, even if it's not with us, saving you time and money. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today. Arash Markazi said he expects, Golic, that the Clippers will keep both Griffin and CP3.
The expectation for the Clippers is, they feel that they're in a good spot. Both those guys are still training at the facility. Both those guys have not really let them know that they're on their way out. They plan to opt out, but they have not let them know that, we are done with the team and we are moving forward. So they will both get a max contract offer from the Clippers, which is more than they could make anywhere else. The question is, have both of them kind of had enough with Lob City? Have they felt that they've hit sort of a ceiling, and do they feel like it's time for them to move on? And so the Clippers are cautiously optimistic they will be able to get both guys back, but we'll have to wait and see how that turns out.
So that's another team that you look at and you say, when you talk about hope, for them it's, okay, if they keep that group together, it's hope they stay healthy. But I don't think even healthy that group is going to beat Golden State either. But I guess you'd have to say, do you have a better shot keeping them all? And then the rumored thoughts that I wouldn't mind getting into at some point of LeBron ending up in L.A. and Jerry West going to the Clippers with his only job trying to get LeBron James to go to the Clippers, and then the report coming out saying that whoever, I forgot who did the report, had it on a great source, a close friend of Jordan that said Jordan will never, that LeBron will never be a Clipper. He'll never play for the Clippers. So
I never even thought about, my whole thought when we talked LeBron LA was the Lakers.
Yeah.
To him to go to the Clippers.
No.
Like the redheaded stepchild.
According to this report, that there's no way he's going to go to the Clippers. I even question the reasoning of going to L.A. that we can get into as well. But that's what we're doing. This is what we're doing, Dave. All these moves, hope. Paul George to Cleveland. Can they get him closer to Golden State? Chris Paul to San Antonio. Would that help? If they all stay in to play with the Clippers, what does that do if they can stay healthy? Can they compete with Golden State? I'm with you. I don't see a whole lot right now going on.
It's not going to change.
That's going to change.
We're going to go into next season, and you're going to have the same exact thing.
Yep.
You're going to have Golden State. You're going to have Cleveland. They're going to run their way through, and they're going to meet again in the finals.
And
unless something changes dramatically, you're going to see the same result next year.
It's tough not to think so, which such a great offseason, it's a shame that you just go through everything forward and say, we're going to get the same
thing. Do you like it? Do you like this team that's so dominant?
I don't mind it. I mean, listen,
makes the rest of the NBA irrelevant?
This is not the first dominant team we've ever had in sports. We all heard of the Lakers in the 80s, didn't we? And even the Celtics and what they were doing.
But here's the difference.
The difference.
They didn't add. They weren't winning titles and then adding the second best player in the world to those teams.
Yeah, but you know what? Golden State still doesn't have as many titles as the Lakers do in the 80s.
Not yet.
Or overall.
Not yet.
So, not yet, but they don't. And those that think it's going to happen for 5 to 7 more years, I think they're nuts because that team's not going to be together.
You think they've won their last title?
No. But they're not winning for 5 to 7 more years. This team's not staying together that long.
Would you be shocked? What would you put the over-under at for them to win titles? 2.5?
I'd say they could maybe get to 3.
You'd be surprised if they got to 5.
They got to yes, because the team's not staying together.
No.
Not for that long.
No.
Greeny, you know how to win at business?
Tell me how.
Show up early for meetings. That way everybody who's only on time looks like slackers.
Well, I got a better way to win at business.
What's that?
Instant free nights at La Quinta Inns and Suites. You can show up with no advance reservation and redeem your La Quinta Returns loyalty points for a free night that same night just by using the La Quinta app.
I feel like I'd win at business more than you.
I'd cream you at business.
Impossible. I'm undefeated at business.
Go to LQ.com now and prepare to win at business.
Dave Rothenberg in for Greeny, Mike Golic. You're back. You feel good?
I'm back. I feel good. Yeah, I'm back and better than ever, as they say, and as we say on this show. And good to hear, obviously, from our listeners and our viewers again on the 100flowers.com Twitter feed. A lot of tweets coming in early already. I love this one from Kevin. How petty are Major League Baseball players? Jordan Spieth flips his club and chest bumps, and it's celebrated. You flip a bat in baseball, and you're going to get thrown at. I don't know if that's a direct comparison.
It's not exactly the same.
But it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good job out of Kevin for bringing that up because I get tired of that whole thing in baseball.
You want to hear a really nice one? This is a delightful one.
Is this from Penske?
Yeah. Well, he's a nice man.
Yeah, whatever.
Yes? Penske tweets in, "My day is made that Rothenberg is on Mike and Mike."
Let me tell you what. If your day is made for this, you have very, very low bar.
No. Why do you see that? Look, these are people that have followed my career from the infancy stage.
Right.
I'm now at. I mean, you should take credit here and be proud of yourself.
Why is that?
People look at this as the pinnacle of sports talk radio.
No, I do.
Right.
I don't know what it'll be considered after today, but, So
you think there's a chance that I single-handedly just destroy this show?
Oh, there's a good chance.
Good chance.
There's a good chance.
No, when you heard that I was with you, were you, oh my God.
I was like, wow, we went, whew.
Really?
No.
Because your son wasn't around, because your son is having a sleepover at Kyle Rudolph's house.
Yes, he is out in Minnesota. Very true. Yeah, he is doing that.
Next tweet, and this is to you. A gentleman's sweep is when you let a team win one so you can win on your home court. # gentleman's sweep. I don't buy into that.
Okay, I don't either. Someone also sent the Urban Dictionary, and the Urban Dictionary definition makes no sense. Here's the Urban Dictionary gentleman's sweep. When a team wins a playoff series but loses one game in the series, a team is said to have let the other team win one game before sweeping them. Well, you don't sweep them if you let them win a game. Right. It's no longer a sweep. So you're
kind
not
of the definition of an
them.
Oxymoron.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But so I think it's more of what you just read. If you just let a team win a game, so you can go win in your home court, possibly like that. So we'll see. And then another tweet asked, "Welcome back. Did I have a cigar with Mike Ditka?" If you're with Ditka, you have a cigar.
Now, are you a cigar guy?
I'm a cigar guy when I golf, which is not many times.
So you're a cigar and an alcohol guy when you golf?
Oh, yeah.
So you're you're like on a bender when you golf.
I have a cigar in one hand, a can of beer in the other, and I'll find a club. at some point, and when I need it.
That's the third of the most important things when you're out on the court.
Yes, absolutely right.
All right, that's interesting. I like those tweets. Those are nice tweets.
Yeah, they are.
Now, there are some stories, Golic, that you have to hear to believe. Introducing 30 for 30 podcast, all new stories from the producers of the acclaimed 30 for 30 series. Subscribe now in the Listen tab of the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
I will do that. Okay, let me give you some thoughts about LeBron, because this is starting to really take over the talk. We have the immediate offseason right now of obviously, is Carmelo going to get bought out? Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, they opt out. What's going to happen with Paul George? Where's he going to end up? So it's going to define next year's season. We know LeBron is going to be in Cleveland for next season. And then I don't know where you are with some of these rumors and reports that people are taking to the bank that first, let me address the one about the thought that after a year or so that he is going to want to end his career by teaming up with his banana boat buddies. Can I just for a moment?
Can you define the banana boat buddies? I'm not.
Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade.
They
were on a banana boat together. You know the picture when they were on the boat together all vacationing?
Explain it to people. I'm serious. I don't know it.
Oh yeah, there's a picture. I was all over social media when they did it. The four of them on a banana boat together.
It's Wade, Paul,
Carmelo,
LeBron, and Carmelo.
Yeah. And then
aging stars.
Yeah, and then the
NBA.
thought of these guys playing together, which would be in a couple of years, right? Are you kidding me?
Well, Dwayne Wade's going to be how old? Dwayne
Wade, their ages right now are Chris Paul and LeBron are 32, Carmelo 33, and Wade is 35. So the thought that these four are going to hook up somewhere in a couple of years, if it's after next year, so in 2 years, what their ages would be, take what I just gave you and add a couple. And to think that they're going to play on a team together, and and that's going to be something to watch. I mean, are we kidding? Aging veterans at that point? I mean, come on. Are we really seriously thinking that that's going to be a team in 2 years?
No.
And that's going to be some kind of, oh, my God, how magical is this going to be?
It's going to be sponsored by like a nursing home. These guys are going to be ancient in 2 years.
Ridiculous. I'm sorry, ridiculous. And then the thought that LeBron after next year is going to opt out and go play with the Lakers because he's coming to the end of his career. He wants to be the Hollywood guy. He's got the home in Hollywood. I'm thinking so now. The thought is you could build a team.
I don't think that's ridiculous.
After this year, you can get Paul George out there as well. I'll say this year, okay? Next year he's in Cleveland. The year after, okay, he goes to the Lakers. Paul George is in the Lakers. Lonzo Ball is in his second year, or third year, or whatever it's going to be. You think they contend with Golden State?
Well, let me just ask you this.
LeBron James is 34 years old.
Let me ask you this. If Lonzo Ball's really good.
Okay, we don't know.
But LeBron doesn't need to decide this now.
No, he doesn't.
Let's just say Lonzo Ball's really good. Let's just say Brandon Ingram, who, I mean, nobody even remembers who he is really good. Mm-hmm. Let's say Julius Randle is a nice player. Let's say they add Paul George. Mm-hmm. You don't think that's somewhat attractive? And I'm not saying done deal.
My God, can you hit your knees and ask for any more hope? Let's say that this guy's good. Let's say that this guy's good.
Lonzo Ball is just the second pick in the draft. I don't think I'm going out on a limb saying.
So in 2 years, he's going to be the best in the league.
No, but what happens if he's
all of a
good?
sudden, he's going to be good enough. I know we don't have to ask his dad that all of a sudden they're good. And we're only talking about LeBron. I mean, they're for a year or so to try and contend. No. Talk about hope upon hope. He can stay in Cleveland and be in the finals for the next 3 years.
But going to the finals and losing, people put a negative on that.
It's better than going to L.A. and hoping upon hope that three guys you just mentioned turn out to be decent players so that he and Paul George don't have to do everything there, and they're going to get to 10 with Golden State.
So you expect him to stay in Cleveland?
I don't know why he wouldn't. You know what's there? You know what's not going anywhere? Hollywood. You know who doesn't have to be in Hollywood to be Hollywood? LeBron James. LeBron James could live in the smallest city in the country and still be the larger than life.
I agree with you, but I think he wants to win, and if he looks at L.A. as the...
Dave,
you think he's going to finish his career in Cleveland?
I'm saying he has a better chance to get to the finals and beat Golden State by being in Cleveland than by being in LA.
Can we see how it plays out a little bit, too? Can we see what happens with
Kevin
year. Love?
We can, sure. But
and do they turn that into another player?
Even if they get Paul George, Kevin Love for Paul George, that will be what goes on.
Okay.
If they get Paul George. So they get closer. Let's see. We have to see where the year goes.
Do you think they're winning a championship if they put Paul George on
I don't think they are. are, but
they're not.
You never know what may happen with Golden State. You have to wait and see. But then to bank on, boy, can Ingram be good? Can Lonzo be good? Can Randall be good? Boy, I hope so. And, oh, by the way, LeBron will be 34 at the time.
Have you seen LeBron is 32 now.
Yes, he is.
If you didn't know how old he was and you watched him play, you'd say he's 25.
I would.
He plays like a young guy.
Dave, age comes up quickly. When you play as much as he does, it ramps up. So a couple more years, I think, where he's at the top of his game. And then everybody says, okay, he'll go to L.A. and he'll step back a little bit and help all the other guys. Well, you're still putting hope on hope of those other guys for the Lakers, who last I checked, a couple of them have been there already, haven't they? The young guys? Sure. Are we talking budding superstars with any of them? No, because it's too early. So to put the hope on hope of that, but more importantly, Dave, the reason of people saying he wants to go finish in L.A. because that's where he wants Hollywood and all that, that's ridiculous. To me, this guy's focus is so much on basketball to think that he needs to be in L.A. to worry about Hollywood in his post-career.
I agree with you on that. He doesn't need to be in L.A. for that. Now, if they were to add, say, a Paul George in Cleveland,
right?
Do you look at them and say they are closer?
Yes.
Do you look at them and say they're right there? Like, what are they if they, in your mind?
What is the object right now for them? Is to beat Golden State.
Yeah.
Paul George can score offensively. Is he a better defender than Len Love?
100%.
Then right there, you're better off. Well, you're looking about getting better. And I know Love grabs a ton of rebounds. I get all that. I understand. But guarding defensively, is Paul George better than Kevin Love?
Yes.
Then they're better. Then they're in better position to beat Golden State if they have a better defensive player. And I know Dan Dockich, and we'll play his sound, he has some issues with George.
Oh, he sure
He's
does.
more of a sayer than a doer, but he's still a better defender than Kevin Love.
You're right.
They need better defenders, and we know he can score offensively. Now, I may not get the rebounds Kevin Love does. I know they have that will have that issue, but you're looking for players to come to help you beat Golden State. And Paul George would give you some help there, especially defensively.
I don't know that they get by Golden State.
I
think he makes them better. I agree with you, but I don't think that they're a better team than Golden State.
All of a sudden, LeBron going to L.A. to play with Paul George and the three youngins, all of a sudden they have a better chance to beat Golden State.
All right. Let's take a listen to Dan Dockich. He was on the show last week, and he had some thoughts on how good Paul George really is.
Paul George started on a path to become a great. And then last 2 years, what Paul George has become is a guy that's trying to talk his way into superstar. It's like there's a book that says, okay, this is how you act as the best player on an NBA team. Like Kobe's way of acting was get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go work out, and be a crazy, fanatical workaholic and hold teammates accountable, and everybody respected him. George's way is to talk. George's way is to say after the fact really dumb things consistently throughout the year, which is, well, we just didn't play hard. What NBA superstar needs Lance Stevenson on their team? Like, George is like, oh, he energized us. We really needed him. We're a dead team, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're the superstar. You need Lance Stevenson. Nobody needs Lance Stevenson except Lance Stevenson's family. Paul George is a talker, not a doer. He's a nice player that people around the country like a heck of a lot more than those that watch him every day.
I get what he's saying. We'll talk more about it. The bottom line, though, if he goes to Cleveland, he doesn't have to worry about being the superstar of the team.
Clearly true.
So he doesn't have to worry about that.
But I still don't think it puts them close to what Golden State
puts them closer. And that's closer. We'll get into it. Would you rather have Paul George, LeBron James, Kyrie?
Yes.
Paul George, LeBron James, Lonzo Ball.
I'll get back to you.
Okay.
You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
Okay, awesome.
You should call them.
I will.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Rothenberg in for Greeny. Golic is back from his United States tour.
There you go.
Yeah, the Battle of Brisbane, Saturday, July 1st, 10 o'clock Eastern, exclusively on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Manny Pacquiao defends his WBO welterweight title against #1 world-rated contender Jeff Horn. Speaking of that card, on the undercard, Mick Conlan is a 2-0 professional boxer, and we have him here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We appreciate a couple of minutes, Mick. And what are we going to see from you this weekend? What are you most looking forward to showing the country, the world?
Hey, guys. Good morning. I'm just looking forward to going out there and putting the show on for all the fans tuning in on ESPN. I feel it's going to be a fantastic night of boxing, and I hope to shine.
So when you're starting your career, again, you won bronze at the Olympics in London. You're just a couple of fights into your pro career. So do you feel as a boxer, and you tell us in your sport, does there have to be, that show as well? Obviously you want to win, but is it about putting on a show as well to you?
Of course, 100%. This is a business and a show business at that. So I feel you got to go out there. You got to entertain the fans as much as just win fights. So I feel that's what I'm going to do on Saturday your side and Sunday my side over here. But I'm just ready to go out there and put a performance of a lifetime on.
We had to ask you about Conor McGregor. You're good friends with him. He has a somewhat relevant fight coming up in the next couple of months. Give us a little insight into what he's discussing and how he's getting prepared and training for a boxing match, which is very different from what he's dealt with in his career.
Yeah, well, I know he's in training camp now, and he's obviously training very, very hard. He's not taking the fight with Floyd very lately, so He'll give it 100%. I haven't been speaking to him in the last few weeks now, as I've been deep in camp myself. Though I've seen some of his posts and stuff, and he seems focused and he seems determined to get that victory. But it's a massive ask. But listen, anything's possible in the sport of boxing.
Talking to Mick Conlan on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line on the card, the Pacquiao Horn card that's in Brisbane, July 1st, 10 o'clock Eastern. On ESPN. And with that whole talk of McGregor and Mayweather in a boxing match, where with MMA, which has certainly risen in stature around the country, and where boxing is right now, I guess that's it. Where do you see boxing right now, and what can help make it bigger?
I see boxing coming back to the prime time. You've got the likes of Anthony Joshua, and obviously with Golic and Canelo on the cards coming up as well. I think boxing's right back up there, and you've got stars like Lomachenko and Terence Crawford. And these guys are bringing boxing back to where it was. I think for a while there it was kind of going under the radar with the MMA boost or boom, sorry. But I feel that boxing's back up there and taking control again.
All right, Mick. Well, we wish you the best of luck. How you liking Australia? What are you doing out there for in any of your spare time, if you have any?
I'm just putting a few shrimp on the barbie and, chasing a few kangaroos.
There you go, one in Rome, man.
I got to ask, is it disconcerting that the toilet water goes in the reverse direction?
Well, I haven't even noticed that.
How about that?
Well, don't, because it'll blow your mind.
You'll fall apart with the training, and that's the last thing. We don't want to be responsible for something terrible to happen.
Got to worry about the fight. Mick, good luck, Mick. Thanks for some time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we appreciate that. Of course, Mick Conlan joining us there in the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Join the Fuel Rewards program now at fuelrewards.com/gold.
No doubt he's going to a toilet right now and just flushing
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Just to see what goes on.
And it's going to blow his mind.
I had to ask him.
Sure you did.
If you ever went to Australia,
first thing I would do.
27 hours.
Because I wouldn't want to believe that it really happens.
What is the genesis of that?
I don't know.
I think it's when you go below a certain.
I don't know. Listen, I didn't know what a gentleman's sweep was. All of a sudden, I'm going to know why that happens in Australia. I've never been there. I want to go.
How far have you ever been?
I've been to L.A.
That's the furthest you've been?
As close as I've been.
Oh, that's kind of.
I know it is. I'd love to go there, but maybe someday.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors.
Mm-hmm.
And shades.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Want an easy way to see if you could save money on car insurance? Geico gives you 3. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Go online to geico.com or stop by the Geico office nearest you. 3 ways you could save 15% or more.
All right, Dave Rothenberg in for Greeny. It is Mike, and Mike Golic is back. Where were you, traveling the world?
I was. Was I a little mean to you in the first hour?
I didn't think so at all. I got two older brothers, so...
Okay, so you're used to getting beat on.
Totally used to this. Okay. I was pummeled physically as a child.
Okay,
so you making
I
fun
enjoy
of me
having you here. I really do. I know you worked a lot with my son on the fantasy focus.
I made him into the host he is today. For good or bad.
Yeah, you go a little far with that. But that's okay. You know, I love the thought process there. So I do enjoy doing the show with you. You got your first hour under your belt, feeling good, clean, and right about it.
Give me a grade.
Grade for you?
Yeah.
Oh, solid D.
What? Come on, really? Like you're going to go home, you're going to talk to your wife, you're going to be like, hour one, he was a D.
You were in the B family.
The B family?
The B family.
Listen,
yes.
I'll take the B family.
Because the one thing that people that find out that sit in that chair to do this show, one of the hardest things, Greeny, to learn to do is all the traffic.
There's a lot of moving parts.
While you're doing that, be able to give solid opinion and talk about what's going on and make sure you get all the reads in, because I know you got people printing up on your you don't
a
know.
lot going on.
Behind the scenes here, what gets written on its board, what people are saying in your ear, all the things the traffic you have to go through.
You know what makes me feel a little bit odd, though, right now?
What's that?
Is that Twitter, which is one of the meanest mediums in the entire universe.
Yeah.
People are being very nice.
They are.
Have you seen it? Like, maybe doing a great job.
They have, which is, I think it's a bit of a shame. Because a lot of times they're nice because they feel bad for you.
So you think it's pity?
Without question.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot.
But you're also getting rave reviews.
Yeah, well, I'm used to that.
Oh, yeah, because that's who you are.
I mean,
yeah, no, I get it.
All right, I'm sorry. Never mind.
No, that's okay.
I was on, I have to admit, it was Thursday and Friday. It was in Vegas at the Gridiron Greats. They had a big function there, and so many of the former greats there that they were honoring, like, the Dave Kaspers of the world and the Franco Harrises of the world, and so many former players that were there. Joe Green was there. Marv Levy was there. And, of course, just for the Gridiron.
What's Marv Levy doing?
Marv Levy is what, 92, 93 in that area, might even be 94, is unreal. He not only gave an award that I'll mention in a second that's named after him, But he also read 2 poems after that. He read 2 poems.
Wait, that he had written?
Yeah, I believe he did. I think he did.
So he's writing poetry.
I'm not sure if they were reading
them.
He read
Gridiron Greats?
He read 2 poems.
Nice.
He is. Let me tell you what.
He's 91, by the way.
91. Yeah. Unreal. And then Joe Green, who was my last. Obviously, Joe Green is Joe Green, but he was also my D-line coach in Miami the last year I played. So I've gotten to know Joe obviously for a while. But Gridiron Greats is a fantastic organization that gives as an assistance fund to help players who are former players who are having trouble. Whether it's physical, whether monetarily, whatever trouble they get in. It's a great organization that helps. And they started an after the Impact Fund as well, which brings into military veterans as well for troubles that they have. They found that football players rehab very well with former military, that they get together and they rehab extremely well. There's a whole facility in Jacksonville that has military and former NFL players doing rehab there. And it's my thought about it, Dave, and it really was a great 2 days. It really opened my eyes to the fact that, even though I didn't play, in the same team with a Dave Casper or Joe Green or Franco Harris or John Nyland, all the different players that were there, we played the same game. We were brothers in the same game. And for the military, and listen, we need to rely on one another on the football field. Obviously, in the military, it goes without saying how much you have to rely on the person next to you there and your teammates. So that was my whole thought when I was talking there, was about being teammates. And it doesn't matter whether you played on the same team, but you played the same sport, and there's a brotherhood and a sisterhood there, be it football, be it the military. And my thought was, for players always, there are players that find themselves in a position where they need some help. And that's what Gridiron Greats is about.
How good does that feel?
It's what they're doing.
Like, how good does it feel for you to be able to go there and to give back to people?
Well, I want to get even more involved in it. I'm just kind of scratching the surface on getting involved with them, and I want to get more involved because I love what they're doing, to work in conjunction with, the NFLPA, which certainly does, for the current players, but programs obviously and things for former players, with the NFL, with the NFL alumni. Everybody needs to work hand in hand with this, because my thought is when you're playing a sport and your teammate ends up on the ground, what do you just instinctively do?
You pick him up.
Yeah. So that's my thought. We just need to instinctively help, and pick up our teammates from other eras, or be it the military, be your teammate there. So I think it was really eye-opening just how much they do, how much they help, the partners that they have. One of the main reasons I got involved in that Premier Stem Cell and Wellness Centers. I've gotten stem cell treatment twice on my shoulder, twice on my knee. They have a facility in Colorado. They're opening a new one in Scottsdale. It's helped me, and they do this for former players as well, amongst many other things with the assistants. But it helped me be able to work out and be able to use my shoulder and my knee better. So, I mean, it's through partners, and I call them now teammates more than partners, that get with the Gridiron Greats, and there's more than a few great teammates out there to help. I mean, they're like Premier, they're putting out a helping hand. Here, you got a bad shoulder, bad knee, bad hip, we're here to help. And so many others helping with head trauma from the military side and from the NFL side. It was fantastic to see. And Ditka, Ditka is a no-nonsense guy, as we all know. And his thought process is, guys need help them. Mm-hmm. And do what you can to help them and talk with whoever else we need to talk to help them. And So
you expect this to grow?
Well, it's been growing. It's been going on since, I think 2006.
And this is your first year involved?
Well, I've been involved for a couple of years, for a few years, but I'm more and more to get involved in this. But when you go there and see it and hear stories, and see video, it's really a moving thing of people. And like I said as well, to the former players there, I said, we just saw Derek Carr sign a $125 million contract, right? We see guys making a lot of money. And I said, even though that's all happening, I said, there are going to be things in even players of today's lives that when they're done years down the road, they're going to need help, be it physical or something. So why not set the example of us now helping others so that the next group of players sees that and they help their former players?
We should do that for radio hosts, I think, as well.
I should, yeah.
We should set up like some kind of a fund.
Assistance fund for you?
Because God knows how long this is going to work, and then at some point I'm going to need help from the likes of you and Greeny and very important people.
I will be there with a hand.
I
to help you up.
That.
There you go.
Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance, creators of the Name Your Price tool. Choose from a range of coverage options and pick the price that works for you. So this, to me, and what you and I were talking about before the show, the Home Run Derby has the potential to be one of the most exciting exhibitions that we've ever seen.
Right.
But there's a big if and a big caveat.
There is a big if.
And that is Giancarlo Stanton has said he's in.
Right.
I need Aaron Judge. I need Cody Bellinger, and I usually will watch for 5 or 10 minutes because it's long. It's like a 2.5 to 3 hour event.
Now, they changed the format last year, Hembo, correct me if I'm wrong, to try and shorten it up some, and it did work. It was a little shorter last year, I do believe, but they did change because it was more on a time. You get X amount of time.
Right, but it's still,
and you can have time.
Long.
It is long. It is long.
That's a commitment
it
if
is
you want
long.
to watch it from beginning to end.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if you feel like this. Stanton, great. He's an animal when it comes to hitting home runs. I need Judge. I need Bellinger. And I'll tell you what I would do. I'd be locked in. I would. Now, my 10-year-old's at camp, and it's a sad story. He went away to camp for the summer, and I miss him terribly 2 days in.
I'm sure you do.
But my 6-year-old loves baseball.
Okay.
And I think a lot of young kids don't love baseball. If those two guys are in, along with Stanton, I will sit and I will watch the entire thing with him.
It's kind of they're the home run guys. Most home runs by a rookie in the first half since the first All-Star game in 1933. You have Aaron Judge with 26. There's only 2 ahead of him. Mark McGwire at 33 in 1987, and Jose Abreu in 2014 at 29. Aaron Judge has 26, and then fifth on that list is Bellinger with 24. So you're right, to go with Stanton.
And he didn't even start the season in the
exactly right. So to go with Stanton, who is so physically imposing. Stanton, I interviewed him on the field during one of the home run derbies, and he was actually Dane Christ, who was a quarterback at Notre Dame when I was there with my son Mike and Jake. He was actually a high school football teammate with Stanton. And Dane Christ threw to Stanton, who was a tight end wide receiver at that point. So physically imposing. Then you have Aaron Judge at 6'7", 280. Forgetting the hitting, seeing him roam right field.
It's abnormal that a man that large can play baseball so effectively.
Seeing these big guys swing a bat and then what Bellinger's doing, yes. I think the home run derby would need that. We don't know if these other guys are going to do it or not, but I'm with you. You need to see those long ball hitters in something like that. I really, really hope the other 2 guys jump into it.
Yeah, I definitely need to see it. Now, how about this stat? And this is from Hembo, so we'll give him credit for this. This marks the first season that multiple rookies have exceeded 20 home runs before the All-Star break ever. Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger.
So you got to get those guys, right?
You would think. And there's this whole drama about, well, it ruins guys' swings if they compete. You know what? I need to see Judge and Bellinger in this.
I do as well. I don't listen. I'm not an expert enough at baseball to know that. I've heard some say it does. I heard others say that it's not going to. I don't know. That's for those guys to decide whether they want to do it or not. But they're not the star power, obviously, of, like, in basketball, the top stars. But I've always said this about the slam dunk contest. A player could do a slam dunk, but then if LeBron James did that exact same dunk, all of a sudden it would be that much greater. It's unfair to said other player, but unfortunately it's like that. So you need the stars. And right now, these are the home run stars.
Absolutely,
these are the guys that you're talking about. So I think baseball All-Star Weekend is the best. You know, with all the fun and basketball, I love as well with the 3-point. Actually, I think that would probably supersede it a bit. I like watching the baseball actual All-Star game way more than the NBA All-Star game.
Now we're done with that mattering, right?
Yes, we are.
Thank
as Greeny said, the Greeny rule. I think it was horrible.
One of the worst rules in the history of all of sports.
Right. I completely agree. So I hope we get that. I hope we get those guys in it. We'll see. Stanton's in, but that's what he does. You know, he likes to swing the bat and hit home runs.
I need Judge and Bellinger. I'd be so into it.
I'm with you.
Get those two guys.
I'm absolutely with you. So we'll see if that happens. We're going to want to get into a little Tebow talk as well, but we always want to bring our resident baseball expert, Hembo, in because Hembo played college baseball. And Hembo, from what I understand, you are a coach. You're not the manager. You're one of the coaches on a 16 and under team?
That's correct, and we had a tournament yesterday.
You had a tournament yesterday.
Before we legitimize it, where'd you play college baseball?
I played college baseball at Cedarville University, a Division II school in Ohio that you obviously have not heard of.
No one has heard of this.
Did you play college baseball?
I might as well have.
But did you?
No.
Okay, he did at Cedarville, USA.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead.
All right, Cedarville is in Ohio.
It is.
And they're the fighting...
With the Yellow Jackets.
They're the Yellow Jackets.
Well, see, there you go.
Well, I think
Georgia Tech obviously stole their name from you guys.
Yes,
so
they did.
Go.
Now that we've established your tremendous background...
You were a coach, not the manager of, and this is important from what I understand in the story, of a tournament over the weekend that you almost got thrown out of.
I nearly was ejected yesterday from a 16 and under youth baseball tournament. That is correct.
Do you realize how pathetic that would have been?
Yes, but would you like to hear the story?
I certainly would.
Okay. Late in the game, our guys are playing a level up, so we need all the help that we can get. Anyway.
Oh, that's how it starts. You're playing a level up.
We have only one 16-year-old.
Already we're supposed to feel sorry for your team.
We are.
I'm on your side already.
Thank you.
Because I coach Little League Baseball and mini soccer, and I'm very tough on the kids. So I'm already on Hembo.
Well, I'm very tough on the umpires, as you'll see. Okay. So late in the ball game, we're down 2-1, and one of our guys scores from third base, evading a tag on a rundown from third base. Fans are excited, of course. Parents yelling, as is Kyle.
So it's a rundown. He evades the tag, and he's safe at home.
Correct.
Called safe at home.
Correct.
Okay.
The opposing coach takes issue with the route that he took in order to get there. Claims he was out of the baseline.
Okay, can I just say right off the bat, probably in this league, there's no instant replay?
We don't have replay.
Okay, all right.
If you did, this would probably be a lot easier to deal
with. The home umpire called him safe.
He did, which we, of course, thought was the correct call. Sure. But he did a little powwow with the field ump at the request of the opposing manager. And they ruled that Kyle had left the baseline and thus was called out.
So another umpire after the meeting called your runner out.
Now, correct. Kyle? Like, why should I?
Kyle's one of his players.
Oh,
correct. Our shortstop, Kyle Banshee.
As if we know.
Oh, I know Kyle.
You know Kyle?
How do you know Kyle?
I never heard the story. I didn't know Hembo until 15 minutes ago.
You don't know Kyle. It doesn't matter if you know the story or not. You know Kyle. Right. Proceed.
So, of course, our head coach, John, at third base at the time, takes issue with this and begins having a discussion with the home plate ump to kind of get the explanation. I, as the first base coach, the assistant coach, of course, start jogging out to the field ump to kind of get the explanation for myself so I can talk to the players and, the parents about it later when they're complaining about it. He gives me one of these deals.
Stop. For those on the radio, you're holding up your hand.
He gave me a stiff
you to stop coming near him.
Stop proceeding. Okay. I didn't take too kindly to that, of course. I just asked, what's the problem here? I just wanted to know what you saw that he didn't. Did you have a better angle, etc.? Because I can't talk to you. I said, why not? You're not the head coach.
But I thought you're not. Are you not?
He big-timed me. He big-timed me.
He's not.
As the first base coach, he was big-timing me.
Does he know you went to Cedarville University?
I thought about pulling a Google me or do you know who I am?
Right.
Yeah.
Chose not to in the heat of the moment.
Well, say, what was your response when he said you're not the head coach?
I said you're not the head umpire.
Oh, I like that. That's a great response.
He did not take too kindly to that.
I wonder why.
One more step. He did one more step.
He told you one more step and you're gone?
He even pulled out his index finger and did like the pretend hook sort of deal.
So did you pull out your other finger? And
yeah.
I did not. I sheepishly walked back to first base, swallowing my pride.
Okay.
But was quite unhappy with it, knowing that I was one step away from being ejected from our tournament.
Wow. So you had a choice there. I'm proud of you because I sort of thought you would have taken that step just because he told you not to.
Well, I win the game.
Had we won, we ended up losing 2-1 by the same score.
So that ruined everything.
It did. It did. But had we, I would have been kicked out for the rest of the tournament. We could have had 2 more games. I would have missed the rest of the tournament.
Should protest.
But most importantly, Golic, I would have had to take anger management classes.
So if you got thrown out, you would have had to take anger management?
Yeah, so this is the deterrent.
Yeah,
it's not worth it. It's just not
worth it.
I think you should have pushed it as far as you possibly could.
You know what I love from him is I was going out there to talk to the umpire about the call, so later I could explain to the parents what happened.
These parents, you're not involved in this now. These parents are out of their minds.
You weren't going out there to get your pound of flesh. You weren't thinking of the parents after the game.
It was, of course not. But I did not expect to have the reaction from the umpire. I didn't expect to be big time either, so I felt like he should have a piece of it.
This is a terrific story. Maybe you'll tell it again later, the very same story.
That's a great story.
Good.
That's a great story.
It really was terrific.
And staying in baseball stories, what do you think of Tim Tebow moving up?
I have no interest in Tim Tebow.
You don't?
No.
Really?
No, I really don't. I think he's a great guy.
Right.
If I had a daughter, I would push her to date him. I think the fact that he's playing baseball at that level does little for me. He moves up to high A ball.
Yeah, he went
now?
from low A ball to St. Lucie of the high A league. I didn't even know that either.
Did you see his numbers?
He's batting .222,
Yeah.
3 home runs, 23 RBIs, a .311 on base percentage, .340 slugging, 69 strikeouts, 23 walks. In 212 at-bats for the Columbia Fireflies.
So, this does something for you?
No.
Like you're excited by Tebow going to high A?
No. Mets general manager Sandy Alderson, this is his quote. It's not like he's tearing up the league.
No, he was at 220, yeah.
But at the same time, all of the indications are positive in terms of various things we look at. Chase rates and exit velocity. Okay.
Yeah.
The bottom line is the average isn't there, but he's improving. Clearly, it's a step up. I certainly think he can handle it.
So what team did he move up to now?
The
high A.
High A. Yeah, he went from low A ball to the high A.
Here's
league.
how I see it.
Yeah.
And maybe this is cynical, and maybe he makes me a bad guy, and it's quite possible. They are doing this to put some people in the seats at a new stadium.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you understand that was going to come along with it. You know, he's out there, he's getting an opportunity, he's playing because he wants to play. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, he's going to the next level, fine, it's not hurting anybody. And some are saying, well, what about guys that have better stats that maybe aren't getting moved up because they won't bring fans? I see. And that certainly, there's no doubt that's part of it. We know that underneath Major League Baseball and the minor leagues, a lot of it is about marketing and attendance and what you can do for the show. And Tim Tebow certainly helps that. A lot of people thought, would he keep grinding away? Would he keep getting on the buses? Would he keep doing it if he's not moving up?
Sure.
And he is. He's doing his thing. We know he's a great guy. We all understand
great guy.
that.
He's a great athlete.
He's not. I don't ever think, and I think most baseball people think he's never going to make it to the big.
He's hitting 220 in low A. All right, don't look at your screen. Don't look at the screen in front of you.
Okay.
93 qualified hitters in the South Atlantic League. What number does Tebow fall in?
Is it
93 qualified hitters.
And he's hitting 222? He's over
Something
the Mendoza
like that,
line,
yeah.
at least. I mean,
well, yeah,
he's hitting.
tremendous.
He's hitting 75th,
up
85th.
There you go.
He's 85th.
85th out of
93.
93 qualified hitters in the South Atlantic League.
And he moved up to high A ball.
Because the exit velocity is obviously.
Well, the chase rates.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you deny the chase rates? Yeah.
Well, when did exit velocity even become a thing?
I don't know what either chase rates or exit velocity
Exit velocity is the speed of the ball when it goes off the bat.
Okay.
Aaron Judge apparently has it's amazing. You watch a Yankees game, his exit velo is 127, 129. Pitcher throws it at 98, 9900.
So it goes out. The speed of the ball coming off the bat.
Yes.
Okay.
And Aaron Judge apparently every time he hits one, it's a new record for exit velocity.
He's 6'7", 282.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to hurt the baseball, which he's been doing.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's a enormous man, and that is the reason. And that's also the reason I need to see him in the home run derby.
I'm with you.
Right?
I hope he is. I hope Bellinger is. We know Stanton is. So I'm with you on that. I hope we get him over.
85th of 93 qualified hitters.
Moving on up.
Moving on up.
Greeny, you know how to win at business?
Tell me how.
Show up early for meetings. That way everybody who's only on time looks like slackers.
Well, I got a better way to win at business.
What's that?
Instant free nights at La Quinta Inns and Suites. You can show up with no advance reservation and redeem your La Quinta Returns loyalty points for a free night that same night just by using the La Quinta app.
I feel like I'd win at business more than you.
I'd cream you at business.
Impossible. I'm undefeated at business.
Go to LQ.com now and prepare to win at business.
Dave Rothenberg in for Greeny. Real quick, before we get to Brian Windhorst, my wife tweeted in, and she said, don't listen to ESPN Golic, Dave. I'm a fan of yours.
I tell you, she's
been a fan for a long time. She just said that nicely to anybody my son works with. To kind of help
what you didn't realize is years ago she actually invited me over for dinner.
Yeah.
I never have taken her up on
it.
that.
No, you haven't, and I never would have allowed it. So
wait, if I came over for dinner.
At some point, she would have had to say, Dave's coming over for dinner.
And you would have made sure to go away.
Immediately said, Dave who? And then she would have said, Dave Rothenberg. I'd have said, hell's to no, he's not.
So you just like me.
Pretty much.
Okay. Well, that's terrific.
I mean, I'm one of those guys.
I like the honesty.
Okay.
I respect the honesty, no matter how hurtful, in fact, it may be. Do you like Brian Windhorst?
I love Windy.
So Windhorst you like, Rothenberg you don't like.
Come over for dinner anytime.
Great, of course you can. ESPN NBA insider Brian Windhorst joins us right now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Brian, you're very well liked, and that's certainly a step in the right direction. Paul George, where's he going to wind up? And I know it's premature to even ask you that, but how close were we to Paul George winding up on Cleveland, or are we still there?
I don't think it was very close. The Cavs are in the game. You know, very late Thursday night after the draft, Kevin Pritchard gave a press conference. He's the president of the Pacers, just took the job. And it was a remarkable press conference. You know, in all the hubbub that happened in the league, I don't think a lot of people saw it. But to see him describe the situation that Paul George has put the Pacers in, you could really feel it. He must have used the word gut punch 6 or 7 different times. And what he said was, you know, the reason this was such a stunning blow is that he had numerous conversations with Paul over the last 6 weeks, talking about things that they could do with their roster, talking about things they could do in the trade market, in the draft, thinking that he was devoted to the team, and then all of a sudden to get the curveball right before the draft that they essentially had to trade him. And I think in a lot of ways the Pacers organization is still a little bit shaken. But being honest, when you look at the Cavs, the best thing they have to offer is Kevin Love. But the issue there is that the Pacers aren't looking for big men. They have Miles Turner as their center. They believe he's a franchise player of the future now. And last week they just drafted T.J. Leaf out of UCLA, who's a power forward. So even if they really wanted Kevin Love, it doesn't fit where they're going with their roster. So as a result, you've got to get a third team involved. And anybody who's been around the NBA for any length of time will tell you a 3-team trade is a no-team trade. Obviously they happen, but they fail 99% of the time, and that's why this is a challenge for the Cavs to get done.
So with George and telling the Pacers what his plans are, and the Pacers want to get something for him, is there a twist team in this? Is Paul George absolutely going to go somewhere? And could there be I know I was surprised Jimmy Butler ends up in Minnesota. Is Paul George looking, and because the Pacers want to get the best deal they can, looking to end up with some team we never thought he would?
Well, the thing about it is, Golic, it depends on the level of risk a team is willing to take, because obviously Paul George has 1 year left on his contract. Now, he has sent out the message via his agent that he will not extend his contract with anybody other than the Lakers if he's traded there. Now, whether or not that turns out to be true is a matter of a poker game, but it certainly affects the offers that the Pacers are going to get. Some people were surprised at how little the Timberwolves had to pay to get Jimmy Butler. Well, that did not put the Pacers in a better position, because giving up a couple of prospects and a high draft pick for a guy with 2 years left on his contract is not going to increase the value of a player with 1 year left on his contract who's promising that he's walking to the Lakers. So, you know, there are teams making bids. You know, the Houston Rockets are aggressive with everybody. The Lakers have had talks with the Pacers as well. The Wizards are in there. But really what this is probably going to come down to is a bit of a waiting game as the Pacers try to judge where their leverage changes. And Kevin Pritchard said, that they're not necessarily pushing to do this now. They'll take it into training camp. I don't think they would prefer that, But right now, their situation is not improving by the day. Maybe if they wait it out and some free agency changes some things in the league, opens some windows, maybe things can change in the next 10 days that would change the kind of offers they're getting.
Brian, I got to ask you about Carmelo Anthony. You know, there's been this kind of groundswell all of a sudden that, well, the Knicks are just going to buy him out and he's going to go to Cleveland and he'll go there and Paul George and they'll create this super team. You know, as a Knicks fan, which you know, and I'm somewhat embarrassed to say, but I don't see the Knicks buying Carmelo Anthony out of this deal.
Well, we have a stalemate here. We have Carmelo saying he's essentially not going to waive his no-trade clause. He wants to be in New York. And you have Phil Jackson over and over and over saying he needs to go. And so we really aren't anywhere further than we were 2-3 months ago. And for Carmelo, the reason people are saying a buyout is likely or is the ultimate decision here is because Carmelo controls all the cards. And if he doesn't accept any sort of trade, then if the Knicks really want to get away from him, then it's going to ultimately come to releasing him. The thing about it is I don't see that happening in the short term. That's a last resort type of thing that may not happen, if it happens at all, for 6-7 months. So the concept that Carmelo is going to be a free agent in the short term is very unlikely unless he's willing to take a major pay cut and leave a bunch of money on the table, and I don't think that's likely either.
Blake Griffin and Chris Paul both opt out, so they'll be free agents come July 1st. We used to play a game here called Either, Neither, or Both. So I ask you those three options for going back to the Clippers for both those guys.
I tentatively say they both stay if the Clippers are willing to offer the 5-year contract. I think it's a short negotiation with Blake Griffin if they offer 5 years. With his injury history, he's got to sign that contract, and he wants to remain in L.A. Whether or not they offer is a different matter. We'll have to see. Chris Paul has been talking to people around the league about his intention to really seriously look elsewhere. He's talked to other players. He's made it clear to certain teams that he's willing to listen, the Spurs and the Rockets being two of them. But in talking to people that know Chris, they really wonder if he's willing to leave $70 million on the table. Again, predicated on the Clippers offering the 5 years. It's so much money, the difference between him staying and leaving, about whether it's worth it to him. That's going to be something that's going to get tested out over this next 10 days. And so, Doc Rivers, the coach and president, has been recruiting Chris Paul very hard. He's been sending him trade suggestions. They did a little thing with Paul Pierce where they extended the window on his contract. He's obviously going to retire, but they made an agreement with him so that they can possibly trade him over the next 3 weeks. They're throwing everything at the wall to try to figure out how to make maneuvers with this team. But one thing I think is certain, they're going to lose J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick is as good as gone. And so forget about Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. As they look at the team and Chris Paul evaluates things, that basically means Austin Rivers is their starting two guards, that he's got to choose to play next to. And I don't know if he wants to play in the backcourt with Austin Rivers as a starter day in and day out. These are all things that the Clippers are trying to deal with as they head towards July 1st.
NBA awards show tonight. It seems late because the season seems like it's been over for so long. But I love the idea of having their own night and the whole deal. And the fashion police are going to be interesting out there tonight. As far as the MVP, I had been saying Harden through most of the year, but I got to believe it's going to Westbrook. You think that as well?
Yeah, Westbrook I think is going to win. The interesting thing, Golic, and frankly, when you do it this close to free agency, this is a risk. Both James Harden and Russell Westbrook are going to finish 1-2 here in the MVP tonight. And then both of them are going to get offered contract extensions in the next week. Do both of them take it? Do both of them bypass it? Do both of them wait? I mean, what happens? To me, the interesting thing for them is they're going to have to answer questions. I assume at some point they're going to take questions because they're first and second in the MVP. They're there. What are they going to say? What is Russell Westbrook going to say when he is asked tonight whether or not he's going to sign this extension offer coming from the Thunder? Because it's going to be a $200-some million contract, the richest contract in the history of the NBA, the offer he's about to get. But if he doesn't sign it, all of a sudden he's in the free agent market potentially next year as well. And so it's going to be this incredible ebb and flow. Never have we ever had a situation like this where we have not only the awards given out, but guys given these awards, potentially super high moments for the histories of the franchises, and then immediately asked about whether or not they're going to recommit to the franchise. We've never seen that on the timeline. And James Harden is a little bit different. He has 2 years left on his contract. The Rockets want to make sure he's locked down for basically the rest of his prime. But it's a fair question for him, too.
All right. Good
interesting.
stuff. Yeah,
We're
looking forward to it. Brian, we appreciate
Thanks,
a couple minutes, man. Enjoy the NBA awards tonight.
Take care, guys.
And that is interesting, having those guys see if they're going to commit or not, and the money that's out there is ridiculous. The Clippers, by the way, by average age, were the oldest in the league last year, and if you bring those guys back and max them out as well, not getting any younger
What
there.
production do you think you're getting from Chris Paul at the end of a $200 million deal?
Well, at the end, I mean, they're obviously doing this. Baseball is the worst of it, giving out those 10-year deals where the last 5 years are nothing. Even in these, I mean, Chris Paul's 32 now, so you're looking for obviously the most of it right now to try and get that championship now.
But what are they? I mean, that's the thing. You're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to do what?
So everybody has
to the second round?
Everybody has the decision to make. How long do we keep this going to try and build a team to battle against Golden State, as opposed to when we start getting rid of those pieces to kind of, retool to go after them. I mean, that now they have Jerry West with the Clippers now as well.
Do you think that because Jerry West is so smart.
Yes, he is, and
he's
done
he looks
unbelievable
at things and says, you know what? I'm thinking long term.
Well,
I don't want Paul. I don't want Griffin. I'm not winning with those guys against Golden State now.
I mean, we'll find out. I mean, Brian Windhorst seems to think the max deals are going to be offered to those guys, and the NBA is doing the only thing they can do, or the only way they can stop players from jumping to make these, quote unquote super teams, is offering more money. You get to that supermax deal where you can make $75 million more. At the end of the day, money does talk, even when you're talking about hundreds of millions.
That much money, though, like you can't spend that much.
No,
money.
It's unreal.
Unless you're MC Hammer, you don't need that much money, do you?
That much money? No, you don't.
That was probably a low blow. I apologize for that, MC.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shades.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Well, Dave Rothenberg in for Greeny. Mike Golic. So you're feisty this morning. You missed the show.
A little bit with the whole LeBron going to L.A., and a lot of people are going to say it's because I grew up in Cleveland, I don't want to leave Cleveland. It has nothing to do with that. It's more about how does LeBron want to finish his career? He wants to finish with championships, and his best shot, I think, at championships, he stays in the East in Cleveland. You're going to get to the finals. You have a way better shot to win a championship when you're actually in the finals.
Yes or no? All I want from you is a yes or no. LeBron spends the next 3 years at a minimum in Cleveland.
I'm going to lead toward yes and not buy all the I'll probably be wrong because of all the reports. Everybody think that they're realistic reports that he's going to leave. But true or false? LeBron James' better chance of being the next 3 years in the NBA Finals. Being in Cleveland for one of those three?
Yeah.
All of those three. Or being in L.A. for two of those three.
So you upped my yes or no with a true false?
Yeah.
I will say true.
I forgot what he.
Yeah, I wasn't following it as.
He's got to be in Cleveland to go to the next three, right?
Yes, I would agree with that. If he goes to the Lakers, the chances diminish. Mike and Mike, ESPN Radio, ESPN2, presented, of course, by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Fill in the blank.
Yes.
You ready for a little fill in the blank?
Let's get
Brought to you by Mahindra Tractors and Utility Vehicles. Mahindra USA, the world's #1 selling tractor. Let's go. The Cavaliers potentially landing Carmelo Anthony would be fill in the blank, Michael.
I'd say a piece of the puzzle. You get a scorer. Okay, it depends. You're not getting him instead of Paul George. That's not doing you any good. You need some defensive help, and that's what Paul George could bring. You get Carmelo, you get a heck of a scorer, another big scoring option outside of Kyrie and of LeBron. So it'd be another piece of the puzzle.
You know what it does? The Cavs potentially landing Carmelo Anthony would be irrelevant. Carmelo Anthony is not a very good player anymore. He can still score. He's slow. Cleveland wants to run up and down the court. I don't think it does a whole lot for Cleveland. And if you don't add more than Carmelo, there's no way.
Completely agree with that.
There's no way that they're going to be a team that's at that level. All right. Blake Griffin and Chris Paul opting out means blank for the Clippers.
Wow. Would it be nervousness? If you're a Clipper fan, do you want them both back? I would like Marcellus. I'm sure Marcellus Wiley is a monster Clipper fan, and I'm sure I've not been on social media for the last 4 days, not a lot, of what he would think about this if he would want both these guys back, or if he's ready. He's the perfect guy to ask. Are you ready?
I think
to
what
move
happens
on?
is you become irrelevant if you lose them. You become completely irrelevant if you lose these. You
know
guys.
you're going to until you rebuild back up. So do you try? If you could only keep one, who are you keeping?
Chris Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know. But here's the thing: does Chris Paul agree to come back if he's losing Blake Griffin?
I know.
And that's your $250 million question. I think Serena. John McEnroe had some interesting comments about Serena. Said she'd be 700th ranked in the men's game or lose to the 700th ranked best men's player. Serena would be ranked blank if she was playing against.
This isn't a cop out. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what John McEnroe said. 700th ranked player. I have no idea what that person looks like. I have no idea what the 300th ranked.
Do they
player.
rank to 700?
Yeah, I think they do.
Are there 700 professional men's players?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what the 100th ranked guy. But I know Serena would have trouble beating, the guy. A lot of
Serena's not top 100 on the men. There's no way. She's not top 250 on the men. And it's not a knock on her, Mike.
No, not at all. It's very difficult to answer a question like that.
Jordan Spieth holing out from the bunker to win the Travelers was
awesome. That was, was hitting that dagger 3, that game-winning shot, like you said. If that was how about if that was at the Masters?
Look, you're going to see that highlight for years. If that's at the Masters, you would take that to your grave.
Unbelievable.
That was, for me, sensational.
Yeah, it was
sensational.
Fantastic. Completely agree.
The highest level Tim Tebow will reach in baseball is?
Do you think it's to AA?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Would you say AA? Hembo, real quick, you think he gets to AA?
He will, just based on his exit velocity and his chase rate.
Stop with the exit velocity.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shapes.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.